You can convert eggshells or calcium carbonate to calcium acetate, which is readily available and very easy for a plant to consume by simply just adding vinegar. If you want to know how much, you can reference this table off to the side here. It'll tell you how much eggshell roughly for how much vinegar that you need. And for those curious, one large egg shell weighs 5.9 grams. Now, if you're concerned about salmonella in your eggshells, you can do a couple of different things to sterilize them. Probably the easiest method is to just boil them in water. You can also bake them for 15 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That'll also kill anything off. Or use a combination. Vinegar on its own actually will kill 99%, but that still leaves that 1%. Now, my preferred method of using eggshells going forward will not be to do any of the conversion at all. Instead, I'm just going to crush these things and put them into a smoothie cup or a blender cup and just let them pulverize with water. You can do this totally dry, but it's going to be a bit of a dusty process, or you can get this dust in the air, which you don't want. It's not good to breathe this stuff in. So water is an easy way for me to tame it down. And once I have this stuff completely pulverized, all I need to do at that point in time is just take these eggshells and just pour them into my compost and let nature take its course. Now, if you're growing in soil and you're concerned about calcium deficiency, which is probably why you're already watching this video, the good news is you probably don't need to do any of this. Most of the time, the calcium that your plant requires is already sitting in the soil. It's just inconsistent watering practices that have got you there, and that's why that calcium is unavailable to the plant. So an easy way to correct this calcium deficiency is just simply to change the watering frequency or watering duration so that that plant is getting consistently the same amount of moisture, and the roots will go ahead and do the work for you, and they'll get that calcium up to the plants where you want it. Now, if you do want to give your plants some emergency dose of calcium acetate, here's a good way to do it. Take that pulverized stuff from the blender we had earlier, put that into a large container, and add some vinegar. Now, don't do what I did here. I added too much vinegar, and I had a little bit of foaming over action. Leave this for a week, then take a tablespoon of that, add that to your watering can, and fill your watering can up, and make sure that goes over the top of the plant all the way down. If you do want to use this in a sprayer, make sure that you run it through a coffee filter first so that it's not going to plug up your sprayer. This to me is what I would consider a Bandaid method. This is one of those things that can lead you just chasing your tail in circles. I think the better way to utilize these eggshells is to just put them in the compost and put all your stuff in the compost, then use the compost to feed the soil, and the soil will feed the plant. Yes, this will work to correct a nutrient deficiency if that is actually the case. I just don't think it's best practice. For me, the only proper use of calcium acetate is if you've got a low shade plant or a plant that is susceptible to sunlight, and you're using this solution to spray over the top to act as kind of a natural sunblock. That I would consider a thumbs up. Other than that, it's just a chasing your tail, chasing symptoms and not addressing the root problem.